My name's Robert. I'm the Waakabanes Bryce Institute for Indigenous Health Research Officer, as well as Cultural Event Programmer and Planner. So I work alongside our Knowledge Keeper and Elder Clayton Shirt. So I'm here. I'll be moderating this webinar today. I'm just so thrilled to have our speaker come in, Mr. Tom Porter, Elder and author. But before we get going any further with introductions, I'm just gonna turn it over to Clayton so he can share with us his spiritual opening in a good way, and we'll begin the webinar. Thank you.
All right, Miigwech Robert and Miigwech Tom for coming. I introduced myself. My name is Clayton Shirt. Everybody calls me Clay. I work at Wapabenez. They asked me to be one of their traditional knowledge holders, and I've been with them for the last over 3.5 years now at the University of Toronto. I'm originally from Treaty 6, Saddle Lake, Alberta. So it's my great honor and great privilege to introduce Tom, and we like to start off in a good way with a traditional opening. So I'm going to do this opening, and I'm going to speak in this language, and I just want to say welcome to everyone again. So take the time, take the moment, and to gather your thoughts, and with that I'll just say Miigwech. And so with that I just want to say again Miigwech to our first mother of all mothers, our mother the earth. Again, we send our prayers to her. We pray to her, we pray for her, we give thanks. So we come together as the people and we give thanks to our first mother of all mothers, our mother the earth. In a good way, a kind way, we say Miigwech to her. So our minds, our hearts can be one with this. We say thank you. We send our voices to Father Sky. We ask the spirits of our ancestors to be here with us in a good way, in a kind way, and to protect us physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. We give thanks for everything to our ancestors. Our minds, our hearts can be one with this. We give thanks. We give thanks to the Son, grandfather of grandfathers, grandfather's son. We give thanks. We asked for this new day, this new beginning, for bringing the warmth, for making the medicine grow for us to keep us well in a good way, in a kind way. So we send our greetings and gratitude to grandfather, son. We say thank you for this day. And if I have done anything in the past, I have this day, this moment to make it right. And I thank grandfather, son for this day. So our minds, our hearts can be one with this. I say Miigwech. I give thanks to Nukamis, grandmother of all grandmothers. Grandma Moon, you are so beautiful in the night. We give thanks for everything you do for us. As I sleep, as my granddaughter sleeps, as my children sleep, as my loved ones sleep, as we sleep, she does this. We come together, acknowledge this special thing she does for us. She puts the waters, the rivers, the lakes, the oceans into order for us. For we acknowledge this, for water is life. We acknowledge her. I say, I love you, Grandma. I say thank you for many things you do for us. You are so beautiful in the night. I say Miigwech to you for this and many other things you do. I say thank you. So our minds, our hearts can be one with this. I say thank you. I offer my prayers to our Creator, the great mystery. For there is nothing beyond you, Creator. I say Miigwech to you for this beautiful gift you have given us called life. We come together as the people. I ask for blessings for Tom and his family, for he does so much work in this community, in his communities. And I ask for his blessings for him and his family. So he works so hard for the people. We come together to hear his good words. We say thank you for this day, this moment, Creator. And again, Creator, for there is nothing beyond you, Creator. I thank you, Creator, for this beautiful gift you have given us all, called life, all my relations. Miigwech, Miigwech, Miigwech. Again, thank you for allowing me to say the simple prayer that I try to live by every day of my life. So we'll begin with Tom. Again, welcome, Tom. It's good to see you. It's good to hear you. And it's been a long time. And I'll just say this. And with that, I just want to say Miigwech to you, Tom. And so Miigwech, thank you, Tom, for allowing me to do this. And welcome, Tom. And welcome everybody for a great talk with Tom Porter. So, miigwech.
Thanks, Clay. I just have to add a couple things before we get going. So this webinar is being recorded. So whoever wasn't able to make it, or if you'd like to view it again at another time, it will be on our Waakabanet's website. And I was so excited to have Tom here. I forgot to mention where I'm actually from. So the community that I'm from is Tainanega, Mohawk Territory, Turtle Clan, and my spirit name is Fast Moving Cloud. And I know with my family, hearing that I'm able to be a part of a webinar with Tom Porter, that's pretty amazing for everyone. So I'm here for my family as well. And you know, I tried to put into one small conversation and how much gratitude I have for someone like Elder Tom Porter, but it was so hard. So I'm just gonna turn it over to him, because there was a scroll of stuff I could say about all the great things and the inspiration that he's had on many communities across Turtle Island, including myself. So without further ado, welcome Elder Tom Porter.
I'm going to start first by telling you that at the beginning of the world, according to our elders and our leaders and our grandparents and uncles and aunts and mother, the way they told us, that's what I'm going to share with all of you today. It's part of the creation story, but I'm not going to talk about all the creation story until another time. I'm going to pull some parts of it just so that we can begin to understand. When the world was new, they said that this earth here, that there was no land mass, but it was earth that was covered with water. There was no land anywhere to be found. And that the human beings, that we originate from another earth, somewhere in the atmosphere, in the sky world somewhere, there's another planet that's, I guess, very similar to the earth. And there lived our ancestors, our great-great-great-grandmothers and grandfathers. And it was one woman who was allowed to journey here from that planet to this planet called Earth that was covered with water. So what I was saying is that that woman who came from the other planet in the sky, and this planet in the Mohawk language is called Galunghiake. The Seneca people and Cayuga people and Onondaga people and Tuscarora people, although we all have different dialects, it's similar, but that particular word for that planet, Galunghiake, is the same in every of the Haudenosaunee dialects. It's the same, it's pronounced the same. Maybe because it's an original truth. Anyway, that woman who came here from the other planet called Galunghiage to the earth covered with water is believed to be the great grandmother of the human people. And so she was allowed to come here, and a turtle came to the top of the water surrounding the earth, and he told the animals that assisted her to descend here to the earth to place her body on top of, in the middle of the turtle's back, and that she will survive and she won't drown in the big water. And so the turtle did come up, and she was placed in the center of the turtle. And then it was that they said that they, different animals like beaver and otters and all different kind of animals, try to go to the bottom of the big water to retrieve dirt so that she could have a garden or plant the seeds that she clutched when she fell from the other planet and that was strawberry plants and raspberry plants, seeds, and also peach, peach stone, peach trees, seeds that she clutched as she fell and came down. And when she landed on the turtle's back, she had these seeds in her hands. And so in order for her to plant these, it required earth or dirt. And the animals here that lived here said that they heard that their grandparents, which would be beavers and muskrats and otters and so on, said that at the bottom of the big water that there was earth, but none of them had ever seen it or had been down there. And so one after another, they dove into the big water to see if they could retrieve the dirt so that the woman from the sky, who was our great-great-grandmother, could plant the seeds and therefore have a sustenance so that she can survive. So the animals all tried it and they did not survive. They all drowned. They all died. Except for the last one. He was the littlest and the most scroungy looking animal. He was called, in my language, we call anogyo, anogyo. But that translates into English known as a muskrat. And he's the one said, I'm the littlest one and I'm the weakest one of everybody. But everybody failed, so maybe I can try, at least give it a try. And so he jumped from the turtle's back into the big water and went down, down, down. And he was gone longer than any of the animals. And all of a sudden, his little body popped out of the water like a balloon. And it appeared that he was drowned, he died. He, like the others, he didn't make it. But when the other animals pulled his, what they thought was a dead body onto the turtle's back, they noticed that his little body was cold, like ice. But when they touched the center of his chest, they could feel a movement from his heart and a warmth. And so they pushed down his stomach and water squirted from his mouth. And then his eyes opened and he blinked. And he opened up his little black paws. And he had between his little paw particles of dirt from the bottom of the big water. And in between his lip of the muskrat were particles of dirt. And he gave this dirt to the sky woman. And she placed it on the turtle's back. And then she began to encircle those particles of dirt on the turtle's back in a counterclockwise pattern, motion. And as she done this, and she began to chant the language of Kalunhiaki. And as she done this and she went in a counterclockwise circle, the turtle began to grow bigger and bigger. And the particles of dirt that was piled in the middle of the turtle's back began to grow and multiply. And pretty soon there was a heap of dirt on the turtle. And as she continued to go counterclockwise and continued to chant the words of Kalunhiaki, which we say is our language. And that's why it's important that we don't lose our language, for it came from that originally the other planet in the sky world, from where our grandmother came from. And so I'm not going to go into other details about the creation, but that's the fundamental part of how the Haudenosaunee people believe humans began their journey. And so now once that the earth, the turtle became so large that it turned into the continent of the continent of the world. And they say it was only one turtle. There was only one landmass. And later in the story of creation, because of different things that happened, the turtle was fractured by the creation or the creator into different continents, and different races of people were placed on these different continents. But that's the detail of the actual creation story, which we're not going to tell at this moment. But then I'm going to jump to the place, to the part of creation where the sky woman, when she left the other world, was already pregnant from the other world. And so by the time 9 months had occurred, she was ready to give birth. And she did give birth to a little baby girl. But there was no other people here, just that woman and her baby daughter that she gave birth to. And then she had to support her daughter, and she nursed her and fed her from the gardens that she made. And the little girl grew. And when the little girl became a young woman, there was no people here, but they say that the west wind is the one that impregnated her, because there was no humans. So it was the the west wind that impregnated her, and she became pregnant with twins. And then when she became pregnant, 9 months later, she gave birth to twin boys. And there's many details to this. But again, we're not telling the story of creation right now. So we're just going to say that twin boys were born. And it is said that these twin boys that were born to the Sky Woman's daughter didn't see eye to eye with each other during pregnancy. So then when those twin boys were born, they were contrary to each other. They didn't, especially one of them didn't get along with his other brother, and he would always tease his other brother. Even during pregnancy, inside the mother's womb, they would have like disputes or disagreements. And so anyway, they were born. And so those twins were given half the world's power each by the creator of creation. And they're the ones that we attribute, are the ones that made rivers. They're the ones that made mountain ranges. They're the ones that made beautiful valleys and the land that we live. They brought character and identification to the continent that we live in. So they're the one that made the Niagara Falls. They're the one that made the Grand Canyon and all the beautiful landmarks that we know of today. They're the ones that did that. And then it was also that these two had conflicts. And so what it ended up is that at the end, the creator wanted to reward them because of their creation and all the work that they had done to beautify the world, the earth that we live in as we know it today. And so the one twin who was always bothering his brother asked the creator, he said, could you put something between my brother and me, because my brother always causes problems and is troublesome to me. He bothers me all the time. So I would like you to put something between my brother and I, so my brother won't bother me any longer. And so that's when the turtle's back, in a symbolic way, was broken up, and they created one section of the turtle, and that's the one that became Africa. And then he pulled another section away, and that's the one that became Asia. And he pulled another away, and the different continents that came to be. And then he placed the different creations of human beings on those different continents. And he instructed each of them, when he placed them on the different continents, he gave them what I always refer to as a skeleton key, which will guarantee, and it will also define the parameters of how they will exist and how they will relate to everything that will sustain their life then and into the future, as long as the world will exist. And so that's why the Haudenosaunee people, the way I was taught, they say that all human beings originally were indigenous people. No matter where they are, they were all one-time indigenous people. So every human is an indigenous people. But the native people of South America and North America pretty much retained their indigenous knowledge or instructions, whereas the other ones in the other parts of the world also did, but not as much. Most of them abandoned those indigenous spiritual teachings and made new ways of believing called religions. And of course, those, some of my elders said, are man-made, and Creator didn't really make it. Man made it, and because it's not the original or natural teachings. But anyway, that's what some of our elders say. So now, what I want to tell you next now is that when those twins, when they told what they wanted as a reward for making the world beautiful, he did split the continents, and he did split. And that's when he split the two twins up. And he said to the one twin, whose name was Taharohiawakun, translated into English, that means he embraces or he holds up the sky. That's the first twin. And then the second twin, the one that was always teaching, his name was Sawiskala. And so when he split them up and separated them, he said to the Haruhiwaku, you will be the sun, and your realm on the earth will be when the sun shines in the daytime, the daylight. That is your power. And then he said to the other twin, Sawiskala, you will be the nighttime, and your realm will be when the sun does not shine in the night. And so every animal, every plant, every living thing has to have a day and has to have a night. Or in other words, every living thing, humans, animal, vegetation, that's in this universe, we are composed of a power called a positive force power and a negative force power in our body. And when one of my uncles was explaining this to me when I was a young person, he said he used an example of how I might understand it the best way. He said, because you're young, he said, this is how you'll probably understand it about the negative and the positive. He said, you take an automobile that's recent, because our old people didn't have automobiles long ago. That's a new kind of invention. He said, but in this new invention called automobiles, under the hood of every car, there is a battery, a little black battery in the car, where the engine is. And on this battery, there's two poles. One pole is a positive pole, and the other pole is a negative pole, and both of them have to work. And if they both work, then when you turn the key of the car and the battery is good, the car will start up. But if one of those poles, negative or positive, does not work properly, you can turn this key all day and all night and your car will not start. And so he said, that's the same thing with humans. We are made of positive power and negative power, day and night power, and that's what makes us live. And if one of the power does not work in our body, that means we die. We are no longer living. And that's the way he explained it to me. That's how all humans and all trees and all vegetation and everything that lives is composed of those two powers. And as long as they work, there will be life. So then now, without going into any other details, I'm going to come to the part now where the two twins of the night and the day, they tried to make human beings to populate this earth. So they took the dirt from the earth and they took the water, and one twin, he looked at his brother, that he has the legs and the arms and the head and the body. And he took this dirt and this water and he began to mold it to look like his brother. And so he used his brother as a pattern of how to make human beings. And he made females and male out of the dirt and the water. And then when they did this, they made a fire, and they put the fire, and they say, some old people said fire originally comes from the sun. And they used the fire to make the humans come alive. It's almost like when you take biscuits and dough, and then you put it in the oven or in the fire, and then it makes into a bread. It's similar to that kind of thinking. So anyways, they made the races of people by a fire. And when they finished, they opened the mouth of those dolls made out of dirt, water, and fire. And then the Shawiskala opened their mouth and he blew in their mouth to make it live. But he was unsuccessful, and he tried again, and he could not bring life to those dolls. So Shawiskala asked his brother, he said, brother, I can't make them live by blowing in their mouth. Can you help me? And so the Haruhiwago took the dolls, even though his brother was mean to him and bothered him and blamed him for everything which wasn't true. That was his brother, so he did. He picked up the dolls and he opened their mouth and he blew in their mouth 3 times. And after the third breath, those dolls' eyes began to blink and their arms and hands began to move and their legs. And when he finished putting life into them, the old Mohawk says, then our creator, they said in our language, was Sakokwenionkwas. That means he lifted them up and stood them up on their feet on the earth. And then it goes on, the older people says, that means that when he stood them up, the Creator then began to speak to them and put it in their head the way the Creator thinks about the universe and the way the Creator wants them to believe in or to understand. He gave them the instructions. And so what I would like to do for you right now, because from my understanding of our elders' talk as I was growing and living, it is understood by me and others that all humans, no matter if they're in Africa or Europe or Asia or North America or South America, were given the exact same instructions by the Creator. The only thing is the indigenous people here of the Haudenosaunee, many of them never abandoned those teachings or those instructions. And in our longhouses, those ceremonies, which are the instructions, are still being executed. They're still being practiced. And our young also participates heavily in those because our grandfathers and grandmothers and leaders have done a good job to make sure that the fire of our beginning never fades or goes out. And that's why the Haudenosaunee, every time when we have our New Year's dances, our midwinter New Year's dance, what we call Sakokwenionkwas, and the Mohawks, we take 8 consecutive days of ceremonies, and they call it making a new fire for our creation, our Creator, and our Mother Earth. Making a new fire. That's what we call our New Year's dances. To make a new fire for the Creator. So that means that our instruction that the Creator gave to us will be renewed every year, and a new fire will be built as a confirmation that we will always follow what the Creator told us. So now part of what that instruction is called Ohondo Kalihodekwa. Ohondo Kalihodekwa. And so translated into English, Ohondo means before or in the front. And Kalihodekwa means Uliwasua means issues or matters that are important. The things that you say before you discuss issues or matters of importance, or a council or a meeting, before you do a meeting, you have to say this. And this is the one that we're going to do now for all of you. It is the original instruction that the Creator said will be what will guide us human beings on this earth from the beginning until there's no more earth to be done. And that's what I'm going to share. And so in order for you to understand this or participate in this, whenever I say at the end of each theme or subject matter, I will say our mind is agreed at the end of each subject or theme. And when you hear me say, and our mind is agreed, if you who are listening hears me say, and our mind is agreed, you will answer in this way. You can say, like an old Mohawk people, you can say toll. And that's the way the old Mohawk language verifies or says yes. They say toll. But you can also say, uh-huh, when you hear me say our mind is agreed. Or you can say, yeah, if you want to. It doesn't matter. As long as you say something when you hear an elder, a faith keeper, or a chief, or somebody doing this, or some people call it the Thanksgiving address, or some people refer to it as the opening prayer. But the Mohawk, we say that which you say before anything that you do is important, any issue of importance, what you say. So we will begin now. And bear in mind as we do this, it's not hard to do, although elders sometimes take 1 hour in order to do it properly. And sometimes one might think, well, that's how will I remember the order, and how will I remember not to forget how lengthy it is. Well, let me share what one of our Bear Clan chiefs taught me when I was young. He said, I will teach you in less than 5 minutes how to do that 1 hour speech called Ohondo Kaiwadekwa. He says, first of all, you mention the creator, the creation. Sangwaya Diso means creator, or the one who made us. First, you acknowledge our creation, creator. Then you will acknowledge the people in that order. Then you will take a symbolic spiritual ladder, tall, symbolic spiritual ladder. The people will put upright this ladder, and the bottom, they will put it on the Mother Earth. And the Mother Earth will be the foundation of the spiritual ladder. That's what that Bear Clan chief told me. And then the top of the ladder, real tall, will reach the sky world where our great grandmother came from. And you will secure the top to that place called Kalohiake, where we originally came from, the humans. So then, as you begin now with this ladder, first was the Creator. You say, Creator, we thank you with many layers of thank you, and with great kindness and compassion and love, many layers. And we send it to you, our Creator. Thank you, greetings and love, because you made the universe that we live in. And with love, we say thank you. And our mind is a greet. And when you all hear, you say to, or uh-huh, or yes. And then you will say to all the people, the families gathered here that are listening, that as we are gathered here, it appears that everybody's in good health. And if we are sick, we're still living, we're still able to move, and we are grateful for that. We see our children and our women and our babies are born, and our elders are living yet, and we are grateful. And so to you, our Creator, we say and we send our greetings and thank you to each other, the people, because we are together living, because the Creator let us be here. And so we say thank you and give kindness to each other, the people, and our mind is a greet. The people will all say to. And then it is now where the ladder, the spiritual ladder, is sitting on top of the Mother Earth. And then we say, at the beginning, our Creator made the earth, and He said that the earth would be a woman, and this woman would be the mother of all humans, all animals, and all birds, and all vegetation, and everything that lives. the earth will be our mother to all life. And so the Creator said the earth will give us birth. And when she has given us birth, then from her bosom we will nurse. Talking, that means the gardens where the corn grows, the beans and the potatoes, and all the food they call gilhikwa. And translated gilhikwa from the gardens of Mother Earth means our sustenance that give us the strength and the power. And every food that you and I eat every day, it comes from our mother's body, the garden of our mother. That's morning, noon, dinner time, in between snack, doesn't matter. Every food that goes in our mouth, bird, animal, and people, it came from our mother's body. And so our mother has been doing this, given birth since the beginning of time. And she has fed and nourished our body all life since the beginning of time. She has never floundered. She has never forgot. She has never become upset when we forgot her and her gifts and her support and her nourishment. She never gets angry with us to the extent where she throws us away or she abandoned us. Never. Because the Creator told her she will be the mother of our life. And so because we have such a good mother, the best mother in all the world, you and I, the people, or the children of the Mother Earth, will become of one mind, and before us, in a symbolic, spiritual manner, we will put many layers of thank you, greetings, and love. And this big pile of greetings, thank you, and love, we will gently give it to our mother, the earth. And we say, Mother Earth, thank you that you never abandoned us. Thank you that you never threw us away. Thank you that you have nourished us again today. Mother Earth, your children, with love, says thank you. And her mind is agreed. And the people hearing that said, to, or uh-huh. And then it is now another one, that the Creator made the water and the creeks and the rivers and the lakes and the ocean and the streams under the Mother Earth that are the veins of spring water and rivers and lakes under the Mother Earth's body. And when our Creator made that water at the beginning of the world, He touched that water with His hands and His power. And He made the water become a living entity. And He put a spirit in the water. And He put a soul and a spirit in that water. And then He talked to the water. And He said to the water, I give you a job and I give you a mission of what your job will be today, tomorrow, and into the future. You will be the one who will go down the mountain and in the valleys and into the creeks and the streams and the rivers and the lakes and the ocean. And as you move, because you are living, you never stop. And as you go through the streams and the brooks, past the Ojibways village and the Mohawks and the Lakota and the Italian and the Jew and the Russian and the bears and the deers and the birds' village, you will quench their thirst so that they can live. When they prepare food, you will help them to prepare by cooking the food. When they are grimy and sweaty, you will bathe them and you will clean their body so that they will have health and they will have a good life. And so the water is listening since the beginning of time to our Creator and to our Mother Earth. The water moves because it is living, it is not dead. The water can roar like a big lion or a big bear, just like Niagara Falls, it roars. Or it can whisper like a little baby as it hits the stones and the creeks and the brooks through the valleys and the mountains. But it is always looking for the Ojibwe, always looking for the Mohawks, so they may quench our thirst and we can live. And so the waters of the world are the precious gift and spirit of our Creator and the Mother Earth. And so I ask that all the people gathered, that we put our minds together as one, and we put many layers of thank you, greetings, and love together. And then we disperse that greetings, thank you, and love to the east, to the north, to the west, and to the south, so that every river, every pond, every lake, every ocean will receive our gratitude, our kindness, and our love for the quenching of our thirst on behalf of our children and our yet unborn. We say thank you to the waters of the world for never quitting what the Creator told you. And so to you we say thank you with love, and our mind is agreed, and all the people said, oh, So our ladder is upright. So as we take the first step on the ladder, you and I, the people, which life form is the closest to the Mother Earth? Well, we just mentioned water. That's one of them. And then as we take another step on the ladder, what's the next closest to the Mother Earth? It's the garden that grows. And for the Haudenosaunee people, there are leaders in the garden where we live. And that's the corn, the beans, and the squash, referred to as the three sisters. They're the leaders of all the things in vegetation that grows in the garden of the domestic garden. And the Creator gave us those seeds to plant. And we call it gihkwan, means our sustenance. That's where our power is nourished. And every spring, we prepare our fields for the corn and beans and potatoes and turnips and every kind of food. And last summer, everything grew real good. And we canned and we dried all food for the winter. And so, to all the domesticated garden, we put many thank you, greetings, and love before us. And we send to the spirit of all the garden food, the corn, bean, and squash, and they will tell the other vegetables that the humans said thank you and send their love and kindness because they have sustained our life. And so to the garden of the world, we say thank you with love. And the people, they said, our mind is agreed, and they said, oh, And then there is another garden that's by the river and in the swamp and in the forest. These are the wild onions and the leeks, the wild turnips, the wild carrot, and all that wild potato and different rice, wild rice. and many others. They grow that we don't have to plant it. The Creator and Mother Earth plants it for the animals and the birds and the humans. And those are special because they have medicinal properties to bring nourishment and health to us. And so included, we send our thank you greetings to all the free garden that the Creator plants that we don't have to plant. And to them, we send our thank you and our love. And our mind is agreed. And all the people said, oh. And then it is now another that our Creator made the strawberries and the berries of all kinds. And of course, in creation story of history, when our great-grandmother fell from the other planet to this earth, she grasped in her hands the strawberry plant and the raspberry plant, and all related to them, blackberry. And then she brought that to this earth from the other planet. And that's how come the strawberry, after the big snow of winter melts away, the white flower of the raspberry plant will bloom and turn into a beautiful red strawberry, juicy and sweet, and medicine. It is the first berry of all the berries to bear fruit. And that's why we call the strawberry the chief or the leader of all the different varieties of berries that grow, for they are the first one to bear fruit. And then after that, raspberries and blackberries and blueberries and gooseberries and all kinds of berries. Right until snow comes, there will still be berries to be picked for the birds, the humans, the bears. And so to all the berries of the world that was harvested last summer and fall, we put it in the canning jars and we froze it, some of it, and we dried some of it. We use it for our ceremonies. So to the strawberry and all the berries of the world, we the humans gather our mind as one, and we put many layers of thank you, greetings, and love together. And then we pick it up and we throw it to the east, north, south, and west. So every berry of every variety will receive our thank you, our greetings, and our love and our kindness for being there at harvest time to sustain us. To the berry world, we say thank you with love, and our mind is agreed, and the people said, "Oh." And then it is now that we go to the trees that are growing. And we call that trees kaluntasua. That's the timber trees. And there's all kinds, lots of different kinds. Maple tree, hickory tree, cedar tree, white pine, bass, all have different names and different groups. But the Creator said to the Haudenosaunee people, of all the different kind of trees that grows in the forest, I chose now the maple tree because when the snow of winter starts to go down and melt away, of all the trees of the forest, the first one to wake up from winter and the sap will run is the maple tree. And then he taught our ancestors, when the world was new, how to make a cut on the tree and save the sap and to drink the sap, and it will be a medicine to cleanse our body. And when we're finished that, we can cook the sap from that maple tree and make sugar or maple syrup to put in our strawberry drink or in our corn mushes or our squash food to make it taste really good and sweet. After the maple tree is done, then the other trees will start to run their sap. Some will bear nuts, apple, cherries, plums, peaches, and the list goes on. That's the food and the sustenance for the birds, the animals, and the people. And so that's why the Creator chose the maple to be the chief of all the trees in the forest. For the Haudenosaunee people, yet to this day, we have a maple tree ceremony, 2 of them. When the sap is beginning to run, and then when the sap is done running, there's another maple tree ceremony to thank them, to dance with them, and to show our gratitude. And so the trees of the forest have become alive again. And just in a matter of a few days, the little leaves will form, and some trees will blossom, like the apple tree and cherry tree and plum trees and fruit trees. And the other ones will have green leaves and all over. And from the trees, the fallen branches, in the cold winter months, our elders and our families can gather the wood and make a fire. So in the cold winter, we won't get froze, but we will be comfortable. And then we use the sacred fire from the fallen limbs to put tobacco on there, to send gratitude and greetings to all life forms of the universe. Every Haudenosaunee knows this, and we still do this. And so to the maple tree and the trees of all the forests, our elders said, not only do they give us all kind of nuts and different kind of peaches and plums and cherries and pears and all kind of things, persimmons, orange, banana, but they also make the oxygen, which is the wind that we breathe, that we need to live every day. And so the trees are a vital part of you and me. And if there was no tree anymore, there would be no oxygen, no animal, no bird, no human again. But the tree is still there, and soon their leaves will be full. And so the trees of the world, with oneness of mind, we become those listening today. We send multiple layers of greetings, thank you, and love, because you still do your job the way the Creator told you. And now we say thank you with love to you, and our mind is agreed, and the people said, oh. And then in those forests, my great-grandfather, when I was a boy, told me that before the European came here, that the squirrel can get on a tree in Atlantic Ocean and jump from one tree to another tree past Chicago and never touch the ground. That's how many trees used to be here when just the Mohawks and Ojibwe was here. But it's not like that anymore. And so we say thank you to the trees that are still here for the service they give and the sustenance to our life they are. And our mind is agreed. And everybody said so. And in that forest, in the bushes and the big trees, there are animals like the beavers and the muskrat and the deers and the moose and all kind of animals, chipmunk, squirrel, rabbit, skunk, possum. But of all these animals that were in the forest, the Creator chose the deer to be the leader of all the animals where we live, the Haudenosaunee. And those animals are the one that spreads the seeds of the raspberries and strawberry and blackberry, different places, so everybody will have food. And the Creator said that when we need a food, a protein or meat, we can get the deer meat, but only take what we need and never more than that. Or we can use the skin to make a clothing or moccasins. And still we do that now and then. And so sometime when we are walking, we will hear the bushes move in the woods. And when we take a look, we see the ears pointed and the horns of the deer and the big brown kind eyes of the deer staring at us, jump and prance into the woods. Sometimes they got a little baby in tow. That means they're still here. They're still doing what the Creator told them to do. And they are the chief of all the animals of the animal world. And so to the deer and all their cousins, we the people have become of one mind. And we put many thank yous, greetings, and love before us. And we send it to the north, south, east, and west, our greetings and thank you, so that the deer and every animal will receive our message of gratitude and kindness. And now our mind is agreed. And the people said, oh. And then there is another one. There is medicine that grows. So as we climb the ladder, what is next that we see as we climb higher and ascend into the trees? The next one I'm going to say is birds. And of all the birds the Creator made, there are many. The robin, the chickadee, the mourning dove, all kinds of birds. And then He gave each of those birds a rhythm and a song to sing. And then He chose the eagle to be their president or their big leader of all the birds. And then our grandmother said, as her grandmother said before her, that the Creator, when He made the animals and the human beings, He made us so that we won't be sad or bored with our life. So He put beautiful color of feathers on their body to look beautiful and variety. And then He gave them all a different song and a different tune to sing. And then He told them, as the night goes on by and the dawn of the new day comes, all you birds, when you see the dawn just beginning before the sun, the face of the sun comes, only the dawn, you will face the east and you will sing your dozens and dozens and hundreds of beautiful songs to welcome the old brother's sun, the miraculous new day. And when the deers and the bears and the humans hear you singing, you, the birds, will in fact shake the minds of all life so that boredom and lonesomeness will not find a home in their life. But instead, they will hear the joy of the beautiful songs of the bird that sings and flies in the universe. And so it is, the birds still sing, even in the coldest of the winter. They welcome the day, and they shake our mind that we may have joy. The eagle still flies with their white head and their tail, white tail. The Mohawk and Lakota and Choctaw and Ojibwe, we still adorn our hair and our hat with eagle feathers. to praise our Creator and Mother Earth in time of ceremony. And so to the eagle and all birds, we say thank you to them today. But before we do that, our grandma used to say to us, the Creator and the Mother Earth wants you and I, the humans, to minimally 3 times per day to laugh, to have a good laugh every day, 3 times minimally. That means you can do it more than 3 is better, because the Creator wants us to know joy and happiness. That's why the birds sing for us. And so what we will do now is we'll pile many, many greetings, thank you, and love. And with oneness of mind, we throw that greetings, thank you, and love to east, south, west, north, so that every bird, every eagle, they will hear our thank you for the joyous song they sang, so that we will have a good life. And our mind is agreed, and the people said so. When babies are born, when little girls, little baby boys are born, they use all this speech to welcome that brand new baby by introducing the baby's name to the Mother Earth, and they say it 3 times, the baby's name, as they introduce the Mother Earth to the baby and the baby to Mother Earth. And they tell the baby that the baby will respect and love the Mother Earth forever. Are you hearing me yet?
Oh,
Are
yeah.
you still hearing me?
We hear you clear, Tom.
And you follow that whole Thanksgiving when a baby is born, and you introduce the baby to all these life forces, that baby will have a partner of all the life forces of Creator until they die. And that's the rituals for bringing a baby into this world. And then after that baby, now we are told by our leaders and our faith keepers that mother and father should take their kids, the whole family, to all the ceremonies in our longhouse. Never miss. Always bring your family, because that's where all of the instructions are renewed. So we never forget what's our spiritual responsibility in this world. So now I kind of condensed this all because of the time element. So now we can open up to questions if you wish to now.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So we do have quite a few questions here, which we'll do our best to get to all of them. Just before we start the questions, I'd just like again to thank everybody for taking the time out of their day, and thank you especially, Tom, for meeting with us and sharing such wonderful teachings. And there's certainly lots of stuff with what you said that I can take with myself, and I'm sure others can as well. One other thing too is we will all this has been recorded, so with some editing due to some of the technical difficulties in the beginning, we will have it up on our website, which I've copied for everybody in the chat box. And yeah, this was a really great experience. We are transitioning a lot right now with doing webinars and everything, but we made it work, and it was just a wonderful experience listening to you, Tom. So this is great. So without further ado, we'll get on with the questions. There's quite a few here, and yeah, great. So the first one is, thank you for your good words, Elder Tom. You speak of images and story. Though not Mohawk nor Indigenous, I have walked the land. I can connect and relate to the stories. How do we move forward together? Tom, did you hear that okay?
Well, I will say, yeah, I heard, because our belief is at the beginning when the world was new, everyone was given the same kind of universal truth. But many people became colonized by different sources throughout the world. And then they began to make different kind of man-made kind of doctrines and things. And so that severed our natural connection or our biblical cord to our Mother Earth and to the old brother sun and to the thunder, which is our grandfathers, and it severed that. So that's why now people all over the world are polluting waters and rivers and oceans, polluting air, because they have no more connection to the real things that give them life. Do you follow what I'm saying? So what people need to do is reconnect to those original teachings, because if the sun should go out, everybody's going to go out. If the moon should stop, there will be no more babies born. If the water is no more, everybody will dry up and they will not live anymore. If the Mother Earth doesn't make things grow to sustain us, animal, bird, and everybody will perish. It's so simple. But that's the way Lakota and Ojibwe and our original people originally did. So my encouragement is of how the natives can help non-native people is to kind of guide you along, not to convert you, but to develop and to retrieve your own truth, the way it was given to you as an indigenous person. We might be the, what do you call those light houses along the river or along the ocean, so that ships can find their way. And that's how but we can't convert people. We're not into the converting business. We're in here only to share, so that you can relish the sunlight, you can relish the quenching of your thirst. And when you eat a strawberry, a blackberry, a blueberry, you can live and relish that. What a gift it is. That's what we can do.
Wonderful. Thank you. The second question is, Chi Miigwech, for your time today. This was wonderful. I want to share these stories and ways of thinking with others. How can I do this in a way that is respectful and with the right spirit?
Well, one of the reasons, like if you want to quote what I said here on this Zoom, just say I heard this Zoom. These two guys from the university over there did a Zoom, and Tom Porter was talking, and here's what he was saying. Just tell the truth. That's all. So if you hear Lakota talking about something that really helps you, you say, well, I learned this from the Lakotas, and they say this was an original teaching of all the indigenous people. So people know.
Great. Next, we have the shared stories, beautiful images, but less people walk and understand the land and creation. How can we, indigenous, traditional, and others, walk together and preserve story and the land? Thank you, Elder Tom.
Yeah, well, that's good. Well, that's what we've been doing. I know I have been doing almost all my life, is trying to reteach our youth how to become good parents and good grandparents, and then from there become good chiefs or good clan mothers or good faith keepers. So we have to redo because of the residential school era and the scoop thing. So everything that was taken away from us has to be put back there, because those are the original truths. So we can share all that with everybody, and when people start to understand that, they can become good fathers and good mothers, good uncles, good grandpa, good grandma, and then, because if you become a strong, good family, then that's what the world needs.
Thank you. Forgive me for if I'm mispronouncing this word. It's Shekoli, Tom. What is your job?
Shegoli.
Segoli.
Sego uli. That's
Sego
a
Oli.
mean. Sego means again. Sego again, and then uli is my friend. Again, my friend.
Thank you.
Sego uli.
Segoli. Tom. what's your thoughts on the vaccine, and have you received the vaccine?
About a month and a half ago, I received my second shot, so I have both shots. But I also was at first reluctant about it, simply because of the history of the European, because they try to poison us before, because they want land and all that. So that was always in the back of my head. But then again, you can't go by those kind of scary things of history. Hopefully we don't repeat it again. So I just bit the bullet and went to get shot. And so far, my whole family, we got all our shots. And so hopefully it's going to be a good shot and we won't get that virus. And hopefully everybody will do it. And I hope it's the good virus, because if they didn't, they lied to us. But so far, everything is good. So I would say to people, don't be afraid. Go ahead and get it. Especially your elders, save them, because we can't afford to lose them. They didn't finish their job to teach us yet.
Thank you. Next, how Elder Tom Zani West do? Wishing you the best of health. Thank you for sharing your deep knowledge with us. I am studying engineering, and I struggle to see how my colleagues could embrace the mindset that you shared today, when all they are thinking about is money and not about each other, health, and gratitude. How can all of us who are still learning begin to make this change in the world?
Well, I think that the thing to remind everybody is that, like what I said a while ago, if the sun goes out, we're all going to go out. If the water is no more, we're all going to die. If the wind is interfered with, we can't live either. If the thunder and lightning and hurricane stops, we can't live either. So we need all those things in order to have a good life. So whatever engineer people are going to do, make sure that there's an embracing of these life forces so it can continue to nourish our life and our children and our unborn is life when it's their turn to live.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Elder Tom. How do the peoples of the world walk their way back and open up their minds to Indigenous teachings?
Well, they're gonna have to go back in history, beyond the colonial history, beyond the westernized money grabbing, greed kind of life. You got to go beyond that and go back to the original, your connection with what really gives you life, and then develop that relationship there with your family and your village and your nation, so that we all are on the same page. So, like for instance, like the Lakota people in South Dakota and North Dakota, they have a Sundance over there. The Haudenosaunee, we also have service our ceremony for sun too, but it's different than the Lakota. And in Arizona, the Hopi, they also have ceremonies for the sun. It's different than the Lakota, different than the Haudenosaunee. But I have no problem with the Hopi's sun ceremonies. I have no problem with the Lakota's sun benches, because although mine is different, it's for the same reason, the same celebration. Are you still there?
I'm still there. Thank you.
On me.
No, no, I'm still
Yeah,
there.
so other people have to learn that religion is no good if it vies against each other. No,
Right.
religion shouldn't be competing for souls or like that. It's because, like I said, Lakota, they do their way, and I honor that. Hopi, I don't go there to convert them, because they're doing right, and they'll say that about the Shuni too. So we never fight about that.
Thank you for sharing. So we have some more time left here. So there's kind of a mix of some comments and a question or two. One is from Yvonne. And she says, "Hi, Tom. It's so nice to hear your voice. If you recall, we received our doctorates at the same time. Hope to see you one day soon. Thank you for your knowledge and your sharing with us today. Big hugs."
Well, that's nice. Thank you. Big hug right back.
Next, thank you so much, Elder Tom. I am Indigenous Igbo from Nigeria, and I have learned so much from listening to you. Next, Naiwe, so very much for sharing your knowledge and for the host. Well, thank you. Where can I access the recording? Well, the recording will be on our website. After we'll probably have to do a couple edits or two, and it'll be posted up within a very short time after today. And there is another question here. Can you explain the meaning behind the roots of the Great Tree of Peace and how they extend out in 4 directions?
Well, that's the peacemaker story. We don't know when that peacemaker came. Sometimes between 1,000 and 2,000 years ago. I favor the 2,000 year thing. And what the peacemaker did is that when people forgot their original teachings, like what we were talking about earlier in the Hondagai Hwadekwa, the people then began to argue with each other. They forgot their spiritual relationships that they're supposed to have, and arguments began to be filling their life. And then argument led to war, and then that war led to bloodshed, killing. And for the Haudenosaunee people, when we've abandoned our spiritual teachings, which we did, and all people did all over the world, then there were messengers sent, peace messiahs sent to each continent to remind us how to be peaceful. Here in North America, the peacemaker came around 2,000 years ago, and he showed miraculous things to the people because people had become cannibals. Your grandfather, my great-grandfather, and grandmothers had become cannibals. That's how bad they became. And so the Creator sent the peacemaker as a Messiah of peace to stop the bloodshed, to stop the war societies, to stop the warring and fighting and arguing, to go back to the original, what he told us, how to live in peace with each other. And so he used the tree. He said, I plant this tree of peace. It's called the white pine, and it has 5 clusters of needles per bunch, representing the original 5 nations. And then he uprooted the tree, and it made a big hole in a cavity in the ground. And at the bottom of this cavity was a river, a swift river. So then the peacemaker summoned all the Mohawk men who used to fight each other and cannibalize each other. And he says, bring your weapons of war that you used to hurt each other and cause bloodshed, and throw it in this cavity where the tree was uprooted from. So that then he called upon the Oneida warmen, bring your weapons of war and cast them in this hole, so that the swift water will take it to the unknown regions forevermore, so that you will never hurt each other anymore, but you will be brothers. And you will embrace righteousness, and you will embrace compassion, and you will embrace the strength to live in peace, and you can survive. And then after all the nations were summoned to do that, and they pledged that they won't kill each other or hurt each other anymore, but they will become brothers as the Creator intended at the beginning when the world was new. And when he finished this, he planted the tree back to seal it, that action. And then he said, from the white roots, from the tree will be 4 white roots, one that goes to the east, the north, the south, and the west. And they will be white roots. And white to the Haudenosaunee represents peace. And so the message of the root will be peace. And so if anybody wants to be peace, they can follow the root to where the tree is growing, and they can sit in peace with all peaceful people. And that goes all over the world. until there's no more war, no more bloodshed, but people will share, and Earth will become our mother to all.
Thanks so much for sharing, Tom. That brings us to the end of our webinar. But one other thing I'd like to share with everyone that's tuned in today is your most recent book, and Grandma Said, Iroquois Teachings, and it's in its third edition. Is there a place where people can find that easily to purchase that, or is that
They can get it on Amazon, or they can get it right from me here in Kanatsiohareke.
Okay, I in the chat box I put the title and a little bit of what it's about. Oh, great! That's wonderful. So whoever's would like to purchase that book, it's on Amazon, or there. You said there's a link to your website as well.
No, they can just write to me, and I can mail it to them from here if they want to.
Oh, okay, excellent. And I'll leave my email as well. So if anybody has any more comments or questions that we didn't happen to get to due to the time, then you can email me directly as well. So I'll do that right now.
What I'd like to say about that book, though, Brother, is that many people who went to the residential schools and lost their knowledge of tradition and customs and beliefs, that Grandma Said book can restore almost a great percentage of that vacancy of the theft that took place, and so that they can become knowledgeable about their tradition again through that book.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Well, I'm getting lots of comments in here with people wanting to know the address in which they can write to you. Are you comfortable with sending that?
Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, because I'm old now, and I don't have to go to work anymore, so
Okay.
I can write letters or what.
Okay, how I can type that now if you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, 4934.
4934.
State Highway number 5.
Highway number 5.
State Highway number 5.
State Highway.
Yeah. Fonda.
Number 5. Okay. Fonda, Fonda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fonda, New York, 12068.
New York. 12068.
Yeah.
New York. Okay. Wonderful. So there's Mr. Tom Porter's address. Whoever wants to write him can. And once again, Mr. Porter, thank you so much for taking the time to share your teachings with us today. And it was just a wonderful experience. So we look forward to having an opportunity maybe for you to come in again at some point. So thank you.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. And I thought you look all like a bunch of movie stars.
You're the star to us, Mr. Porter. Absolutely. You're the star, definitely. So thank you. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Great.
Okay. I want to get what?
Yeah.